pushes way up the racetrack, and now here comes Janzik. Janzik goes by Query, and he goes by Inman. Burnell gets a great run, another 3 wide for the race lead. It's going to drag race off of turn 4. Shepard is there, but it's Larry White at the line. Still going to be Pat Ward, and they make contact. Britton has broken the race car. AJ Slideways. Alan Johnson wins.
Whether you hug the infield tires or rip the cushion, you found the fastest dirt track podcast in motorsports. Welcome to Where Legends Are Made, the official podcast of Land of Legends Raceway. Here's Stephen and Brad Ovens.
Well, fans, welcome into another episode of Where Legends Are Made, the official podcast of Land of Legends Raceway. It's your lead announcer, Steve Ovens, here with you with another episode, and I am thrilled about this one. This one came in by popular demand. We put a post out not long ago and said, all right, fans on social media, you tell us who you want to hear from. And we kept getting over and over and over, you've got to talk to Kyle and Parker Ridley. You got to talk to the Ridley boys. Well, your wish has come true. We've got the Ridley boys on the podcast this week. We've recorded this just about a week ago from when this is going to actually come out and air, but we're excited about it. We've got Kyle Ridley, we've got Parker Ridley, two names that you're going to hear a lot coming up here in the racing world. And gentlemen, welcome to the program. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thanks.
Kyle, I'm going to start with you. Let's talk a little bit about, we know racing's been in the Ridley family for a bit, and actually there's one question that I wanted to start with that if you have to ask Dad for help on this one, it's okay. I'm trying to remember. I know, your dad has wrenched on cars for a long time, been big in the RC world. Your Uncle Kevin has raced for quite some time. He's big in the RC world too. But I'm curious where racing started in the Ridley family, because what I don't remember was if Grandpa raced or how racing got started for you guys.
So it was mainly started all from my grandpa when he started drag racing at Canandaigua.
Oh, okay. Awesome.
And it basically just kept on moving down, and it all came to here.
All right, very good. So for fans that might be newer to Land of Legends, here's some homework for you. Do some research on the drag racing that took place on the fairgrounds, and if you happen to look at a map over the property, obviously right on the front straightaway is where that all took place, and do some research too on, the racetrack in the current configuration was actually not the original racetrack. The original racetrack was even bigger than it is now, and there's a lot of folks that have been fans for a long time that'll say, "Oh, I know that story. I know all about that." But interesting. So that was part of the story that even I didn't know. For you, Kyle, though, getting your start, I mean, man, racing's been around your guys' family forever, so it was just a natural fit for you to want to be involved, right?
Yeah, just mainly seeing what Dad does and basically working on other people's cars and going to the pits every Saturday and getting exposure to all this. And I just said, well, they got the class, so I wanted to learn and continue the tradition mainly.
I think that what a lot of gearheads and race nuts will appreciate about Kyle and even Parker too is, these young guys, they learn all about these cars. They learn how they go together. They learn how to tear them apart. Kyle, you're not a driver that just shows up with the helmet bag and the driving suit on Saturdays. Like, Dad's putting you right to work on this thing, right?
Yeah, basically, he said, you want to race, you got to learn how to work on it because everybody just says, well, you can't just show up and drive a race car. You got to know how to work on it and learn and get the car to be good. And you got to learn the car and how you want it to be. You can't just judge it off other people.
What's the hardest thing about either, tearing something together, put it or tearing it apart, putting it back together? What's one of the hardest things that you've learned the last couple of years on, maintaining and taking care of your own car?
Probably just getting that right setup in for the track because you go to different tracks and everything. You got to learn the setups and how you want the car to be because other people can't tell you how you want your car to be. You got to try to figure it out yourself. And really, you're the person that can only do that because you're the one that's driving the car. So it's probably the hardest part.
How about for you, Parker? What made you want to get into racing? And for those that might not be familiar with Parker, he's big into the in the quarter midgets right now, and has won some races, won a championship in that division. And but Parker, what made you want to get started?
Really just to have fun, get the hang of racing, seeing what I can do, challenging myself, and that's really it.
What was the first time you went out and raced? What was that feeling like?
It was just like I have no clue what I'm gonna do. I just have to try my best and see what happens.
Awesome. Awesome. So after you get the hang of this stuff, and I kind of put myself in your shoes because I think for the first year or so that I started racing, I was just trying to make the car go in circles. I wasn't even thinking about, how to run a line or anything like that. But after you get the hang of that, this racing stuff becomes a lot of fun, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really just you just want. And most of the time, you just want to get out there and win the races.
You want to cut those fastest laps you can and be the
Yeah.
first one at the checkered flag.
Yep.
What did it feel like the first time you won a race?
It was super exciting because I just got to feel what everyone else was feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, you've watched a lot of people win races and be in victory lane, so to do that for yourself, that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah. I'm
Where
just gonna,
where do you where do you race right now?
right now, I race at Sodas, but I originally started at Syracuse.
Okay. Okay. Do you have a favorite place out of all those places you've run?
Mm, Probably Sodas because it's a lot wider and you can get around a lot easier.
Okay. The corners are the corners about the same, or the corners are a bit tight up
Yeah.
at Syracuse, right?
Syracuse, it's hard because if you mess up a corner at Syracuse, you're probably out of the track.
Okay, gotcha. And Kyle, for you, tell us about how you got started, because I think how you got started was pretty similar to Parker.
Yeah, mainly going to the track and everything. And we were there one night with Eric Jagir working on his car. And that's when the first year you guys made the new Legends. And I was like, Dad, I think I honestly want to try this. So we were kind of hustling a buck and tried to get money and put together a decent car for that year and went out and tried my hardest and got a couple seconds. And this year was the first place win finally.
Yeah. Before you got into the new Legends, did you start out in quarter midgets as well?
Yes, I did. I started out at Syracuse and I did one kind of like a half year to 1 year. And I grown so tall that I couldn't actually fit in the car anymore. So that's when we had to go bigger.
Okay, okay. Well, that's good motivation to get a big car, right?
Yeah.
Well, I never even thought about that. You're absolutely right, though. Yeah. Um. So you talked about it. So, your season in the new Legends and this past year was how many starts did you have in 23?
Oh, I'm pretty sure close to 5, 6, maybe 7.
Okay, that's what I was thinking too was a handful and um but your first, handful of starts compared to this year, man, you took a pretty big leap ahead. What what was the difference? Was there something that you did differently? Was it getting more comfortable with the car? Was it we tried something different in setup underneath the car? Because this year you really came out and were strong right out of the gate.
Yeah, mainly just first and second year, just really tried drilling in the car and getting me more familiar. Like, the track's loose, I got to do this to the car. If it's tight, I got to do this to the car. So mainly just getting used to it and getting new parts and little newer stuff to make the car go a little better. And mainly just me working on myself, trying to get myself better.
I wanna drill into what you just said there just a little bit and ask you about that. So what is one of the things that, as you looked at your first handful of starts and then come into 2020, like what 2024, what was one of those things that you pulled into the pits and you knew like this is something that I need to either get more comfortable with or that I need to get better at? What were some of those things for you?
It was mainly trying to get the car in way harder on the turns and really getting better on the starts. I really lack hard on starts, so I'm just really trying to get my motivation up and just trying to get a little quicker on my pedal and see if I can just get a little better on the starts every time.
Very, very nice. And you said about driving that car harder into the corner. I've talked to so many of the sportsmen, mainly the sportsman guys, and I'm sure it applies with the modified guys too. But with the sportsman guys, I've heard that over and over from guys that are, pretty new like yourself to guys that have been doing this a while. I mean, I think of a conversation I had with Frank Guerri Jr. a year or two ago. He said, I had to learn that I needed to drive 10 cars deeper into turn one than I was used to doing with the way these cars drive right now. And so it sounds like that was something that you had to pick up and learn too.
Oh yeah, and it was honestly really different because with these newer cars, you got the coils now, and everybody was all getting used to the bars and everything. So there really wasn't a lot of people to tell me like how to drive the cars and everything because nobody was really used to the coils because they were so new. So I mainly had to get advice from other people and ask them like how should I go into the turns, how should I exit, and mainly everything and try to learn them.
Who's your go-to when you want to ask questions like that?
Probably my uncle Kevin and Frank Guerri. They mainly helped me out a lot in the past couple years and mainly gave me the motivation on how to drive the car harder and harder every time.
I imagine that you get a ton of great feedback from your Uncle Kevin. I know that even on nights that he wasn't at the track, man, they're always watching. I remember one night in particular that he's messaging me, kind of giving me his reaction as he's watching you out there on the track, and I know that you know Kevin and your dad have really taken a lot of pride in keeping you moving forward and improving and have been right there every step of the way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thankful to have everybody that can mainly support me and put the car on and get me there every week and mainly just giving me the opportunity to race.
Now, have you put little brother to work on that 20 ride?
Yeah, when I got to get the car out early because he races at Sodas is on Sunday, so we get the car out, and when he getting to leave, he normally helps me wash if it was a dirty night, and if I break anything, he normally helps me try to fix it. So
Parker, what's something that they taught you how to fix? What's something you've had to tear apart on the big car?
A belly pan. He got destroyed.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Okay. Tell me about that. What's the trick to getting the belly pan?
Taking off all the Zeus's and all the Zeus buttons.
Okay.
And
Is
time
is is that a fun job or is that a not so fun job?
not so fun.
Not so fun? Okay. Kyle, what's something that maintenance wise on the car is your least favorite part of having to maintenance the car?
Probably mainly greasing the drive shaft because you kind of got to do it every race, every other race, and you got to keep it lubed up if you want to be fast and want to be good.
When you're working and doing the maintenance on the car, I'm sure that that Dad or Uncle Kevin's giving you some pearls of wisdom. What's the not like on a particular part or piece, but just in general, what is their philosophy or what's their guidance on doing the maintenance on the car?
It's basically like if you want the car to be good and if you want to do good, you got to take care of the car, or else the car is not going to perform to your liking.
I like that. I like that a lot. These are not the kind of things that we can put it in the box on Saturday night when we're all done and then just roll it out next Saturday. Like I think that might be an interesting podcast episode to do with a driver coming up, is just talking about all the different things, because when drivers win races or when they get interviewed in the pits, that so many drivers talk about the crew and the hours that it takes you know to keep these cars running like they do. And sometimes I think for the fans that maybe have never worked on a car, or that don't really understand just what it takes or how much is involved, I think it'd be interesting to try to walk through like all the different things that you've got to do between Saturday and Saturday to get this thing ready to go. So that might be fun to do down the road. So is your dad, is Bruce right there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, Bruce. I got to ask you a question, man. You've been in this racing game a long time, and you got your boys racing, doing well, and I've known you for a while, and I gotta say that they've handled this first interview like pros. And I, tell me if I'm wrong here, but I as long as I've known you guys, I think finishes, wins, like all that stuff aside, like you got two really really good young men, and I feel like that's probably that's number one in your book.
Oh, absolutely. The biggest deal for us is that it's the goal is always do good, but we gotta have fun. I mean, if we're not having fun, it ain't we shouldn't be there. And for ever since Eric got out, Danny got out, and we kind of like did this little hiatus, and we went RC car racing, got these guys in, and I feel like I'm back at home at Canandaigua a little bit with the family again. So I'm just glad that I can bring them there, and week in week out, and eventually Parker will be there. He's got a lot of aspirations to try the sportsman deal out down the road, so it won't be too long.
Did you think let's go I don't know, let's go 5-7 years ago, did you think that did you have one racing at Canandaigua and one that had aspirations to get there?
No way. No. It was kind of like, it was a real weird thing because we were kind of going through COVID, and we got all of our Trump bucks and all that kind of stuff, and Sabrina and I didn't lose our jobs. If anything, we got extra money, so we were able to afford to finally get a couple cars. We talked to some people or whatever, that were into mic rod racing, which is, and we got Parker into this open wheel thing, and then Kyle was sat in it, and he was like, "Yeah, I want to try that." So we ended up getting two two mic rods for these guys, and we just hit the track, and it wasn't like super expensive right off the bat, and they took to it really great. They had good coaches, listening to like guys like Dale Darling and Chris Darling, and that were doing it for a few years, and Isabella Colezo. They helped out a ton to steer these boys in the right direction, and because I really didn't know anything about them, and they kind of picked it up. Kyle did really good, but like he said, he outgrew the car, and then we had a car for Parker, and we just jumped Parker over in the other car and sold that car and built Kyle a Sportsman.
And then when the Sportsman was in the driveway, that's like being back at home.
Yeah, it's definitely a little more in my wheelhorse. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you, you and Sabrina, the whole family have done a great job with these young men. I want to ask all three of you this question. Bruce, I'll start with you. First time that Parker won and first time that Kyle won in the Sportsman. What were those nights? What were those feelings like?
Oh. Well, it's I've been to Victory Lane quite a bit with Dan and Eric and Greg Cool, and a lot of over the years. I mean, I felt like I was coming back home a little bit, and Parker, this is a little special for him or whatever, because that this was kind of like a new thing for him, and he's really become excellent with this mic rod deal, and he could really take it further. The thing that holds us back here or whatever is just like with a lot of people, whatever, it's just cash. We try to raise as much as we can to try to just get through a season and still try to have some competitive stuff for us. We don't have the best of the best, but we don't have complete junk either or whatever, but we just try to make what we have work. I guess that's really, and the Sportsman car is pretty much the same way. Last year was the first year that I actually bought a couple tires for Kyle because we were just running on a lot of the old stuff,
Sure.
So, but I'm pretty proud of these guys. I mean, they're working hard, and they have some dreams and some aspirations, and I think they'll get there if they work hard enough at it. So,
yeah.
Kyle's really getting a good lesson this year, whatever, about putting this car together, because I'm still healing up from my injury from Oswego from, being a twinkle toes. So,
yeah. Well, there could be positives for Kyle out of that, right? He's going to learn a bunch of stuff that he's going to have an appreciation for 3-4 years down the road.
Definitely.
Yep. So, Kyle, your reaction, like what was it like winning that first race at Canandaigua?
It was definitely an experience that I'll never forget. It's just always just sitting there, and somebody's always by you trying to pass you, and when you just get under that flag stand, you've made it, and it's just an unreal experience.
I felt like that night was, and not just because you won the race, but like how you ran that. I thought that was the best race that you had run up to that point. And you showed a lot of growth, and it felt like everything you had learned up to that point, you put it all on the racetrack that night and got the job done. It was pretty cool to watch.
Yeah, it was definitely a bit mean to me because we had our family reunion that day, and yeah, we had everybody watching, and I was like, I kind of need to win this, so it gave me a lot of motivation.
Awesome. So extra motivation. So Parker, for you, what was winning your first race like?
It was just like, how did I do it? You just really have to try your best to defend your position. Yeah, to be smooth, you gotta hold a line. You just gotta be super focused.
I bet Mom and Dad were pretty excited too, weren't they?
Yeah.
when I was your age and got a chance to win a couple races, I mean, you feel great for yourself because you won the race and you're proud of what you've done, but it's pretty cool seeing mom and dad's reaction. I'm not gonna lie, man.
Mhm.
That's awesome, man. I know that there's probably more things that I could go in and talk about here, but as I told somebody recently, if I ask all of my questions in one sitting, then I don't have a reason to bring you back on the show again. And I got a feeling that after everybody gets a chance to listen to this, they're going to be saying, "When is Kyle and Parker coming back on the show?" And I appreciate your guys' time. I do want to give you guys an opportunity because your dad mentioned it. Like this sport, you can't have any level of a success in this sport without a lot of good help and sponsors that make all that happen. So I want to give you guys a chance to mention those that do that for you.
So first off, we just got to thank our returning sponsors for this coming up year. We got Howie's Auto, we got Heritage Outdoor Sports, Bummel's Barbecue for putting on uh, our barbecue. That is March 1st this year. If you want to save that in the calendar.
Yeah.
It is. We also got Fred's Fab and Fold. We got Wayne Spa Service and Safety Awareness Solutions. For our new sponsors, we got CNC Automotive, we got Frado's Curving, and we got Project Lean Nation.
Awesome. Awesome. Now some of those sponsors that when somebody approaches, do they say, "Hey, we want to get on both cars?" How does, if somebody's out there listening and said, "Hey, I want to get involved in Kyle or Parker's deal," how can they get a hold of you guys?
Mainly it's you got to contact mainly dad and mom, and like we're also trying to focus. It's mainly together, like both cars,
Gotcha.
and
I
yeah.
like it. Hey, you know what? If I was a sponsor, I would say, hey, there's some pretty good value here because I'm not only going to get exposure for my sponsor on Saturday nights, I'm going to get it on Sundays when Parker's racing too, and Parker's proven that he can take down some checkered flags. So, yeah, for those who are listening, if you're looking to get involved with a team, and you heard him talk tonight, man, I got to tell you, and Bruce, Sabrina, I'm just so impressed with the poise of these two young men to come do an interview that could be pretty intimidating. And man, they sound like they're NASCAR ready already. So that's,
We'll
that's
see. Parker does really good. I'm impressed with Kyle. He's not a real big talker, but Parker's the chatty Cathy of the two. But
well, with the
he,
nickname the Mayor, you got to be right.
listen. He plays the part, man. He totally does. He likes doing his videos and like his recaps and stuff. And he's got a plan, and he's starting a YouTube channel for himself, I guess. So he tells me he did it all on his own. So he's quite something, man.
Awesome. Well, I remember the first night that I remember watching him walk into Radio Hill Raceway for his first night of racing, man. He walked in that room or that the pit area there, and he walks into that back pit area, man, and he's got control of the whole room. So the nickname the Mayor is absolutely is perfect. So
Well, you would be proud of him at Sodas. I tell you, he's got a real big heart. He buys pictures for his his fellow racers up there and just and hands them out to them, and he plays the part, Steve. I know that. I tell you, you pegged him really well.
Well, that's good. I love hearing about your guys' racing efforts, and we will absolutely be doing this again. And hey, I'm thinking this went so well. I think we may have to do like a sit down video interview at the racetrack sometime this summer, and get an update on everybody's racing efforts and see how Parker's year's going. So. We can, Parker, we can get you hooked up with some content for that YouTube page. Don't you worry.
Sweet.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate the time. Great job, and can't wait to get back to the racetrack and see you guys each week. And like I said, for those that are listening, again, March 1st, they got a benefit coming up. If you can get out there and support them, please do it. If you can purchase a ticket but you can't make the event, do that. That is such a great way to help these race teams kind of get their season started off in the right direction, and then they take it from there. So thanks, boys. Appreciate the time again.
Yep, always.
All right, that is the Ridley boys. What a great way to get some off-season content here on the podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. We've got more driver interviews coming up. We're gonna talk to Rich Vleck in the next couple weeks to kind of recap all the things that we saw during Dirt Car Nationals. We've got other drivers that are lined up. They're going to do an interview. We've got new 305 sprint car drivers that you've probably never heard their name or you're not sure where they're from. We're going to be talking to some of those folks. We just got a lot of good things happening at the Land of Legends, and we want to share those stories with you here on Where Legends Are Made. So thanks again for tuning in. We're putting out a show every Wednesday, so be sure to tune in and subscribe to us on all of the different podcast platforms, from Amazon Music to Pandora to our YouTube channel, Facebook. You can catch us in any of those platforms. For the Ridley boys, my name's Steve Ovens. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Land of Legends Raceway fans, tune in each and every week of the racing season to Where Legends Are Made, a podcast dedicated to covering the drama, excitement, and hear from the drivers from your favorite dirt track. Stephen Ovens and Brad Ovens walk you through the week that was Where Legends Are Made. Subscribe on Apple or Google Podcasts.